What is going on, everybody? I'm Spencer Tillis.
I'm Trayvon Miles.
And this is the Delmarva Sports Insider. Coming up in just a bit in today's episode, Kent County was looking to make a splash in this year's Governor's Challenge as they squared off against Polytech. We'll have those highlights.
That's right. And the Wizards back in 2016. That's right. The one, the only Trayvon Miles. You know him, Spencer?
Oh, I heard of him.
He's here to give you his rankings. Stick around, see if your team made the cut this week.
I doubt it. Well, plus there's some good college showdowns going on this afternoon as well. SU looking to get a big-time conference win at home against St. Mary's. Highlights of that one to come, and also a former local in that one, actually, we're going to have a little shout-out to as well. But we're going to get things started with the Governor's Challenge.
How can we not?
Right? I mean, what a great week. The tournament, 103 games this year, 100 teams. We
almost covered all of
them.
it.
It was a monster. We made it to just about every single one, but there was one that a lot of people were talking about, and that was Polytech. They were squared off against Battlefield in one of the showcase games. And Tyler Nixon was putting on a show with his passing early on. Goes to the lane right there and finds Jarek Johnson underneath. That's good for an easy layup for two. A few possessions later, this time check out Tyrone Matthews. Goes baseline. That is not an easy shot, but he gets it to go for 2 points as well. Then they started playing a little defense. Jerry Satchel, the big-time block right there, sparks the break, and over at the other end, Matthews finishes with the bump for the and one. Team-high 17 for the senior. But the Wildcats came firing back just before the buzzer at the third quarter. Ryan Johnson finds some space in the corner, lets it fly, and sinks it in. Pocomoke would find themselves down 7 late before Nixon finds like Curtis Whitney underneath. That's an easy one right there, Zebo, baby. But unfortunately for them, time would run out on their comeback as they come up just short, 67-60 the final. Now, Pocomoke did go 0-2 in the Governor's Challenge. They had some tough games, though. I mean, it was not an easy bracket for them. But I actually feel like some things, I'm not going to say as far as exposed, but it showed them some areas that they wanted to work on, which you asked Coach Fuchs, I mean, that's exactly what he wanted out of these games. And it kind of looked like to me that they were missing some of those outside shooters, some kind of touch. Once they got in the half court, they kind of struggled. I mean, they had a hard time scoring if they weren't out in transition. People forced Nixon to shoot. Now, he had a career-high 30 in that first game. Not a very good shooting percentage in that one, and that wasn't a very good shooting percentage in the second game. And so the recipe seems to be, if you can get them in a half-court set, try and force them to shoot a little from the outside. I mean, Nixon's another one guy that wants to get to the rim and score right there, and he really wants to pass first as a guard. But it seemed like there might be a recipe there. The thing is, I don't know if there's many teams around here that have the guns that can compete with them like that. But if there was one, it's go out and get some really good players apparently and force them into a half court.
I was getting ready to say, Pocomoke does not see that a lot where teams make them play half-court offense. A lot of what they do on here on the shore is make teams turn it over and get easy buckets.
And they are deadly in transition.
So that was just a totally different matchup. An interesting matchup one, but also another interesting matchup. Stephen Decatur hosting Bowie. A little great challenge for Decatur. A little 3A, 4A matchup. Bowie's a 4A team across the bridge. So I think this was just a little test for the Seahawks. And you know what? Decatur, they actually look good to start this game out. Darian McKenzie bouncing it over to Keon Ely. Fancy on the layup. Ely, 11 points on the night. Then Torrey Brittingham, point guard. He's going to drop it off to Kevon Voiles. Voiles knocks down the free throw line. Jumper, friendly bounce. Decatur leading 12-6 after one. But Bowie, they're Bulldogs. They bite back. Marcus Haynes rocking the rim with the monster jam. Not once, but twice. Bowie comes back and drops Decatur. The Bulldogs take it 64-58. And you know what? I'm not even mad at the effort that Decatur showed in this game. They beat Battlefield, the team that Pocomoke lost to. And then to come in and compete with Bowie was kind of impressive to me. Now, believe it or not, Bowie is just a 500 team across the bridge. They come here and beat up on our teams. They're a 500 team across the bridge, but they only fell to National Christian, the big team that we saw, by 7 points a couple weeks ago. So for Decatur to come in and play them really well, I'm sure Coach B.J. Johnson is really excited and cannot wait to get back into conference play and get rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be fair, they weren't the only local team that got a little bit. They went 4-32 against teams not from around here, and so it was a good opportunity for a lot of learning. We'll put it like that. And one of those teams looking to kind of maybe deal out a little of that was Kent County. They had been red hot coming in this thing and looked to keep it going when they took on Polytech. And Manny Camper, well, he had himself a big day. Gets the bump and the bucket underneath for the and one finish. 23 points to go along with 11 boards. The Panthers would come firing right back, though. Josh Smith gets to the basket, and he's going to go ahead and get a little bump of his own. That's an and one right there. A tight ball game at that point. And then check this out. Marquand Green trying to play beat the buzzer, gets the friendly bank, the roll, all sorts of help right there, but that counts for 3. Trojans up double digits headed to the 4th, and they were not done just yet. Put him in spin cycle. Shamar Turner. That was fancy. He did, man. Career, or 24 points in that one, a team high, I should say. Kent County would hold on for the win 78-58. And looking back at Turner, I mean, coming in this year, we talked a lot about the fact that they're having Green. We talked a lot that Camper was back and healthy, and deservedly so. I mean, both those guys are great. But you add that third piece to him. I mean, if Turner can keep this up right now, he's a little undersized, but he has got quick handles. He gets the basket. He can shoot. I mean, like you said, he had a great tournament. Led them in points both games. You add him to the mix. That Kent County squad that was looking like a little bit, you know, not quite living up to the expectations coming in, instantly they are a serious team up there in the north, and they looked good.
I definitely think so. We had some tournament directors asking, who is this kid, Shamar Turner? I'm like, honestly, I don't know, but his numbers jump out on the stat sheet. And you know what? He just played an ultimate all-around tournament. I saw him up there earlier on the leaderboard among points in the whole tournament.
He was good.
So he had a great game. Well, one of these reasons we love the Governor's Challenge as well is these matchups that we never see, teams we always see, but matchups we never see. They take place there. Teams 1 hour away from each other. Blue and Gold Fever, Caesar Rodney taking on Y-High, and Barry Gaines Jr., he brought his hard hat early in this one, gets the ball inside. He's going to finish the layup. And moments later on the other end, CR coming down just to get put down. Big block for the senior. Also pulled down 12 rebounds. A little later, the other senior, JoJo Brittingham. I'll tell you what, Spencer, Joe is starting to become a three-point shooter. What do you know? Game high 28 for him. Y-High up 14 at the half. Second half, CR making a run. Jaquan Hooks, the sophomore, shooting from the bench. He gets that one to go, but Y-High, they would pull this one on out. Devontae Dixon gets the steal. He's going up 19 for the sophomore as Y-High wins it 82-66. And I must say, after all of the grief I've been getting.
From who?
I don't know. Some guy that works here. I'm very proud of this Indians team. They showed really well. It wasn't great teams they played against, but hey, as Waller told me, a win is a win. You know what I mean? They could use these games. I've been hearing a little bit more laughing if they actually lost these games.
Oh, yeah.
So a little momentum is not bad. And, you know, they're one of the only teams around here to go 2-0 in the Governor's Challenge this year. Like I said, didn't play against the top-tier teams that we saw these other teams play. But, hey, however you can get momentum towards the start of the year to start this conference play, I think that's what they were looking for.
Yeah, that one guy, Waller, must know who's making the schedule or something. Might be getting a little home cooking right there. Eh? Shout out to JoJo's mom, by the way. She stopped me after the game, was, you know, making sure that we got some of those highlights in.
Oh, yeah.
We got him there. We got him in DSI. You know, JoJo had himself a game, so he deserved it. Well, it's time for a first quick commercial break, but what are we going to talk about else on the other end? More Governor's Challenge. Washington looking to follow up their initial impressive win with another against Dunbar. Highlights on the way.
My name is Dre Green from Cambridge, South Chester High School, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Inside. Mommy, I'm on TV. Ah!